Hello again, friends, and welcome to 151 The Show. My name is Adam, and this is a special Side Jobs edition of 151. Of course, we're still brought to you by Skeleton Wines. You can find out more about them at skeletonwine.com or on their Facebook page at Skeleton Vineyards. As for us, we're 151. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr, all at 151 The Show. And we hope that you subscribe to our Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google, and every other single channel we're a part of. If you missed any of that, feel free to go to 151theshow.com. That'll show you the way. Or the newly added this station's website.com. Joining me on the phone today from sunny Florida, apparently. Ladies and gentlemen, author Erik Handy is on the line. Good morning, Erik.
Good morning, Adam. How's it going?
Oh, you know what? It finally snowed here.
Snow? What is that? That's foreign to us Floridians here.
Yeah, I can understand that, but it's for me growing up, and we talked off the air, and you grew up in Florida. I grew up in Iowa, where the white Christmas is kind of a thing, and we didn't have that this year. And Mother Nature decided like 5 days later, hey, guess what? Snow. So. Yeah,
white Christmas down here is when Santa brings us cocaine, so it's all good.
Did you get a big pile of cocaine this year?
Not as much as previous years, but hey, times are tough.
I just want to see the stocking that's just brimming with cocaine.
That would be me too.
And little kids running down the stairs and just going nuts over. That's the best way to ever start an interview, is a stocking filled with a giant amount of cocaine.
It can only go one way from here on out. So
debauchery all the way around. No, Erik, he joins me on the line right now, and I gotta say the biggest reason that this interview is happening is because on Twitter the other day I made fun of the movie Aragon, and this random guy liked it, and I'm like, oh, let's see who liked this. So I went and I looked, and it's like, oh, it's an author. He's got a lot of books. Let's see if he wants to come on the podcast, and lo and behold, here he is.
Here I am. Yeah, Aragon, by the way, awesome movie.
Did you like Aragon?
No. I don't think anybody liked that movie. Come on.
Did you read
I watched the first 20? Well, go ahead.
Did you read the series?
I randomly opened to a page and read the page, and that was enough for me.
I love the people out there, and truth be told, that we've made fun of Aragon on the show before, but it's so much. It's just like, hey, I'm going to take the best parts of Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and I'm going to mix it with dragons.
Yeah,
masterpiece.
And he profited from it. Yeah. It's come on.
But so that was the biggest reason why I thought it was funny that you did, and then I started looking at your Twitter page, and I got some laughs out of it, and I saw that you had a ton of books. I watched some of your YouTube stuff, and you've got kind of a quirky sense of humor, and then lo and behold, you like fish tacos and pro wrestling, and I'm like, you know what? I'm in on this.
It's the cherry on top.
So, Erik, I know, right? Maybe by the end of this, we'll get to more cocaine and pro wrestling, because those two things kind of go hand in hand. But Erik, looking at your slate of books, and we'll get into the whole, how'd you get into writing and all that stuff here in a little bit. But what kind of author are you? Because it looks like you mix a lot of kind of the paranormal and the weird into books, and they're not. I don't mean this as a bad thing, but it doesn't look like they're long reads.
Correct. I write what I would want to read, and I hate to pick up a book that's 400 pages, and it could have been written in maybe 200.
Yeah.
All that fluff and just wasted time. So I try to pare down each of my books to the absolute bare minimum, and hope people take to those.
The books, and don't take this the wrong way, they seem kind of weird. Like it's like
yeah.
Death Cult and gravitational distortions and just all this kind of, like, there's a lot of weird in your books.
Thank you.
Well, I don't mean, I know that sounds kind of bad, but I mean, having never read them and, setting up this interview, you go through this stuff and it's like, Apocalypse, which I believe is your newest book, correct?
Yes.
A disabled boy goes missing. His mother savagely torn apart by an unknown force. I mean, it's like, okay, there's a lot going on just right there. And
right.
Only one man is capable of stopping the madness.
There's always one man, and he is the only one.
Is it the same
always.
dude? Is it the same dude in every book?
No, actually. Apocalypse is the first of another series that I call the Bad Boogeyman series.
Oh, cool name.
And thank you. The main character, his name is D.
Okay.
For reasons in future books, we'll find out why. And it's kind of my take on a cross between Doctor Who and the X-Files.
Oh, that's...
It's sort of like a supernatural detective type deal, but not really overly supernatural. I want to ground everything in reality.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the start. Apocalypse.
Now, when you, at what point, like, were you just randomly, stumbling across Doctor Who and X-Files and got the idea for this, or was it something else that you'd been thinking about for a while?
Oh, I've been thinking about this for years. I loved the X-Files. I loved old school Doctor Who. And I loved how in Doctor Who, there was your story with made up of 4 or 5 parts, and they were just so concise and quick and entertaining, and I wanted to capture that with this Bad Boogeyman series.
Now, when you're setting up a series let me stop there and ask this question: was this the story that had been kind of sitting in your head for a long time and it finally came out, or is this one of many kind of stories like that?
I've been sitting on this for a while.
Okay.
I just didn't know how it would play out. Like, I knew the setup with the description that you just said.
Yeah.
I knew the setup, but I had no idea who was going to be the Bad Boogeyman, who this woman and her son were, how they wound up where they were. I had no idea, and it took literally years until it finally clicked in my head, and I was like, okay, it's time to write this.
What was the moment that made it click? And I don't want you to, spoil anything, but, there's always kind of that moment. It's like, oh, this is how it fits together.
Well, originally, I did not know what was going to happen to the kid. I was going to do a whole, he could be the Antichrist, and maybe a satanic cult did this, or even maybe even a Christian cult killed the mother and took the kid. But it just didn't sit well with me. It just seemed too convoluted and silly.
Okay.
And then I just grounded it into reality, and it became what it became.
Erik Handy, author of many fine books. You can find out more about him at erichandy.com. You can also find him on Twitter at Erik Handy. How many books do you write per year? Or how many, or no, let me rephrase that. How many stories do you have going on per year?
I would say 4 a year, 3 or 4.
Is it tough to keep?
That I'm actively, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say 3 or 4 that I actively work on a year. But,
Okay.
in my head, it's a constant barrage of stories, and, there aren't enough hours in the day to do anything, let alone write them all.
Now, everybody can find your books on, it looks like, Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Nobles, Kubo?
Kobo? Yeah.
Kobo.
Hey, I don't know what it is either. I don't know.
You don't know what it is?
It's a sales outlet. I guess it's like a Canadian and European Amazon type deal.
Okay.
I have no idea.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it looks all right. Go to Amazon. It's safe.
Yes. Yeah.
Kobo steals your... No, I'm just kidding. People from Kobo are going to come after me now, like a death cult in one of your books. So tell us about, and this is as much of a learning experience for me as it is probably some of the listeners that maybe haven't stumbled across your books. If there's one thing you can say about what you write, what would that be?
Well, I hope what I write is entertaining, no matter what the genre is.
Okay.
And no matter the subject matter. Nothing is ever too serious in my books.
That's good.
And if it is serious, it's sort of like a tongue-in-cheek type deal where, you might have seen this in a movie before, or something similar, or everything's going to work out in the end, even if it doesn't.
Erik, what is it you like about writing so much?
Just telling my stories and getting them, out there into people's hands, and just the act of creation.
Now, it says here that he works a full-time job he hates. Let me ask you this. At what point before you put that first book out, what was it that really made you go, you know what, I do want to do this as a living. I want to do this as something other than me just writing down ideas.
I work. I'm not going to say what occupation I have, but it deals with the public, and it's pretty intense.
Public relations?
There was just, actually, I work in a public library.
Really?
Where you would think, oh, no problem, but no, there are problems aplenty, and I just had it, and I was like, you know what, I need to do something to supplement my income, and maybe this will be the next career I have.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Was the first book Hell of the Dead?
yes,
When did that come out?
that came out in 2010.
2010. So you've been doing this a little while then.
Yeah, to much success, obviously, because I'm still working at the library, and
I'm doing this stupid podcast interview.
this is fun.
Hell of the Dead, that's the book that essentially got it all started for you. A priest protecting a woman and her child. A police chief protecting himself. Not D, correct?
Correct, yeah. All of my books except Apocalypse are standalone.
Okay.
So there's no... I mean, there might be overlapping characters, but you can read one and just be done with it.
Okay, so Apocalypse starts the boogeyman stuff, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I get it now. And like I said, it's just one of those things where I haven't, and that's going to sound bad to an author, I haven't read your book yet.
That's okay. I don't blame anybody for not reading them.
Like, have you ever used the line, I'm an author,
Maybe I will now.
I've done interviews and got a new series coming out, Bad Boogeyman. You want to see my Bad Boogeyman?
I might do that if there's a line in the restaurant this evening. I'm an author. And I have stockings full of cocaine. So let's do this.
You should just carry that around at all times.
Should.
That should be your glove box when you go out, like go on break from the library, go out to the car, and just bury your face in a stocking full of cocaine.
Well, then that would be a full-time job I would love, and I would quit writing.
You know what's funny? I worked at a place where a dude would go home, like he would go home for lunch, and he would, I don't know how much weed he smoked, but it was a ton. And he'd come back, and he was just the happiest son of a bitch on the face of the earth for the rest of the day.
That is one lucky man.
Erik Handy is my guest right now. It is Erik with a K, not a C. You can find out more about him at erikhandy.com, at Erik Handy on Twitter, and I'm looking at your Facebook. Please like his page, at Erik Handy Books. So I know you got Bad Boogeyman coming out. When's the next book for that come out?
I haven't even put pen to paper with that one. I would say probably 2020.
Okay. Do you have, I saw I want to say there was a couple other books like in the works coming out here soon.
Yes, in the next couple of months I have something called Rot House.
Rot?
And it's Rot House. Yeah.
Like R-O-T or R-A-W?
Yeah.
Rot House.
R-O-T.
Okay. That's what I thought you said. What's that one about?
It's about a bad house. A very bad house.
I'm hooked. Also, it's a bad house. Okay, is it a crack house? Is it a haunted house? Is it a death cult house?
I don't want to say it's a haunted house, but I will say that there's something strange going on.
I just want to say those sons of bitches at Netflix stole my idea.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
Oh, Erik, which of these books do you most identify with? Because I want to say that, you always have things like you always say, hey, what's your favorite book? Oh, I can't choose. They're all kind of my, favorite. They're like kids. You can't really pick one. But if one of your books if you were going to tell a person to read one of your books, which one would it be?
It would probably be Drain.
Okay.
Which is not horror in the least. It's action fantasy in the vein of some anime or manga like Bleach.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're an anime guy, huh?
It's the least, I was.
Okay.
But I just, there's so much out there, and I just got bogged down. So I was like, I'm just going to take a step back and wait a little while, do other things that need to be done, and maybe get back to all that.
I know you said Apocalypse is the first of the Bad Boogeyman series. Will any of your other books see like a series, like a sequel or, a series come out of it?
Well, Hell of the Dead may or may not have a sequel.
Okay.
She Never Dies may or may not have a sequel. And actually Drain is, I don't want to say it's the first of a series, because then people's expectations will be like, oh, well, where's part 2 or part 3? But Drain could be the first of a series. Well,
when you started out that it's Paranormal Defense Force, it's like, okay, that could be something down the way.
Oh, yeah. There are many stories to be told in that universe.
I'm okay with this. So that's the one I should start with is Drain.
Yeah, if you like action. I mean, there's no horror at all. There's paranormal things, but nothing, spooky or anything.
You're a horror guy, correct?
Yeah, for the most part.
Do you like the gore horror?
No. I'm a subtle guy, where, nothing is scarier. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather see a dark hallway than somebody bleeding out.
I've often thought about this, and I'm not a huge, horror movie guy. Everyone's always like, oh, the Saw movies are so awesome, or The Hills Have Eyes and all this. And I'm like, it's essentially people getting torn apart for an hour and a half. I'm not...
Right.
It's more gross than it is anything else. And I always thought that horror was the best horror is the stuff you don't see.
Exactly.
And I'm glad that you kind of agree with that. I mean, what if there was a book or a movie in that genre that you would go, you know what, that's it for me. That's, the one that I would like to not copy, but, be in that kind of style. What would it be, you think?
Oh, Lord. There's so many. Off the top of my head, I'm going to have to go with the movie called Session 9.
Session 9. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's about a group of, I guess they clean up old buildings. They clean out the asbestos and all that stuff.
Okay.
And they happen upon a former asylum that they clean out, and spooky things may or may not be happening. And, it's a lot of psychological suspense. And at the end, you're still not sure whether or not was something really going on or not.
That I like those kind of movies where people come out and you're kind of like, I don't know what I just watched and I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's the best kind of movie, is making people feel like that instead of spoon feeding them gore or, jump scares.
Hey, here's a guy getting sawed in half from the crotch up.
Right.
He sat
That's
on a
easy.
circular
That's
saw.
Easy.
Boo.
Yeah.
So you like Session 9. Is there any other ones? Like what if you had, and I don't want to do the top 5 thing, but I mean, if you had your top couple movies that would make us understand you a little bit more?
Sure, yeah. There's Ju-on, the Japanese original. It was remade as The Grudge.
Okay.
Lake Mungo. It's an Australian faux documentary about a teenage girl who dies under mysterious circumstances.
Wait a minute. An Australian?
Yeah, I'm trying not to spoil it, but yeah.
Australian, do the description again.
It's an Australian faux documentary about a teenage girl who dies under mysterious circumstances.
How could you ever take an Australian horror movie serious?
Actually, this one, it's pretty creepy. I mean...
I immediately go to the whole accent and try to watch a horror movie with that accent.
Yeah, with this, though, I mean, they treat it like it's a documentary, so it's a little more serious, I guess.
Yeah, but still, hearing someone talk about the horror of Lake Mungo with the, shrimp on the Barbie kind of mentality is really funny to me.
I can see the humor in that.
It's kind of
a different slant on it.
Well, you think about different accents, and everyone's always like, the British guy is always, the suave villain, and the German guy is always the mad scientist type, doing experiments on people type accent, and the American guy is just always the a-hole. I mean, the Australian accent doesn't exactly conjure up horror to me.
Crocodile Dundee. There you go.
No, that's a knife. Imagine Mick Dundee in the Saw movies.
I don't know. That sounds like a money idea right there.
And that little stupid puppet coming out and saying, "Now that's a knife."
Where's my cocaine? This hasn't happened in a Saw movie?
What's that?
Are we sure this hasn't happened in a Saw movie?
It could. What are we on? Saw 14? It'll probably be Saw 16.
Can't wait. Pre-ordered right here. I got it.
Oh, that's a conversation in itself. Thinking of the weirdest combination of movies. I'm going to combine Crocodile Dundee with Saw.
I love it.
Oh God, fish tacos. I want to go there with you.
All right, let's go there.
I forget where I read that. I think it was on your webpage, erichandy.com. Where's the best place to get fish tacos in South Florida?
Oh, geez. The best place is probably my kitchen.
Really? Why? What makes your chefery so damn good?
Well, You can't overcook any of the fish that you use, and you can use either mahi, cod, flounder, tilapia.
Uh-huh.
I find a lot of restaurants around here, they overcook the fish, so it's nice and dry and rubbery.
I would
So
agree.
you gotta, you need moist fish, if you will. And a lot of them, they oversalt the fish.
Okay.
And you kind of got to just let the fish, do its thing. I mean, it's a fish taco.
What's the toppings of choice on your taco?
We got cheese, sour cream, and coleslaw.
There's got to be like at least one or two of your fans are going to listen to this and be like, we want to hear more about his books, not his damn fish tacos.
I don't know, man. The fish tacos sound more interesting than the books, really.
Whatever. You have like paranormal defense forces and death cults and children going missing and all kinds of weird stuff going on. Who wouldn't want to read that?
True.
I am now a fan just based on that. I'm going to spread the word of Erik Handy. I'm really like, what's your favorite book? I don't know. I haven't read any of them. He's just an awesome dude. Over on your YouTube page, which, forgive me, I don't have the name, or does the channel have a name?
I think it's just my name, I think.
I got to tell you, you made me laugh the other I was looking at this stuff last night, and there's one of the videos where it's the title, and forgive me, it's something along the lines of the first reading or something like that. And I'm like, oh, cool, I can hear a little bit about one of his books. So there's you and one of your books, and you're reading. There's no words. There's just a few reactions and stuff. And I don't know why, but that must have been the perfect time of day to watch that because I laughed at that a lot.
Thank you. It took all of 45 seconds to come up with that video and to shoot it.
You've got some video game stuff on there. You tried to do Twitch?
Yeah, I did, and then they did something weird with the affiliate program or something, and I was like, you know what? I don't boycott things, but I'm done with Twitch.
Really? Just
yeah, and I forget what it was.
Are you a gamer?
Sort of. I mean,
Sorta?
I play occasionally. Yeah.
What's your game?
The first BioShock.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's the one that kind of got me, I guess, re-interested in video games because I hadn't played in years and played that one and I was hooked.
What if you had to have one platform in your house? Which one would it be?
Now this is under the caveat that I have every game for the system.
Yes.
The Super Nintendo.
Really, Super?
Yeah.
What game on there? Let's go down this path. I'm liking this.
Oh wow. There's so many. Oh my gosh.
See, I would have gone with the N64, but that's me.
Yeah, I was going to say PS1 because there were like 1,000 games on there.
Yeah.
But the Super Nintendo, I had that, and I had it at a weird time in my life. I was a teenager, so I had other interests, and I really didn't give it the attention that it deserved because it's a great system, and they had great games. Yeah, I missed out on a lot of those, but I would say Donkey Kong Country might have been my top game on there.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to go N64 so we could talk about the greatness of Mario Kart and Ocarina of Time.
See,
but
that's when I got out of video games.
Why would you get out of video games?
I know. Well, I was graduating high school and just, didn't have the time with college and work. And
how did you not have the time with college?
I know.
That's like every night in the dorm room.
I know.
What were you doing? You nerd.
Well, I wasn't studying. I mean, if I studied in college, I wouldn't wind up at a freaking public library.
Oh, come on. The public library, there's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't.
You know what's funny about you say that? And for when I got let go from radio a couple years ago, like at one point I looked at a librarian job. I'm like, you know what? That might not be too bad.
And it's not a bad job. It just depends on the area you are in, you know? And it's all area because I've been to libraries, throughout the state, and they're fine. It's just once you hit like Orlando South, I don't know. It's a different world.
People stop reading.
Yeah. Yes, I do. I don't have a big following in South Florida.
It's all the north where people know how to read.
That's right.
There's so many Southerners that are going to be pissed at me now and will no longer listen. But, our following is huge in Florida, apparently. I have no idea. I have no way to prove or disprove that. But Erik, we're getting a little long in the tooth here. I appreciate you coming on the show today. I appreciate you having some fun with me and talking about fish tacos, your books, and all of that. Erik Handy, erichandy.com, at Erik Handy on Twitter, and I believe the Facebook was at Erik Handy Books. I appreciate it, man. Drain is the one that you recommended for everybody, correct?
Correct, yes.
Awesome. All right, dude. Well, we'll let you go. Like I said, thank you so much for making some time today, and have a happy new year, okay, man?
You too, and thank you for having me and plugging me. Thank you.
All right, Erik. Thanks again, man, and have a good one. This has been a Side Jobs edition of 151 The Show. We're brought to you by Skeleton Wine. You can find out more about them at skeletonwine.com or on their Facebook page at Skeleton Vineyards. That's for us. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr, all at 151 The Show. And we hope that you subscribe to our Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google, and every other single channel that we're a part of. If you missed any of that, please head over to 151theshow.com or this station's website.com. Have a good one, and we'll see you around.